So they're going to do it again. Excuse me. So this report came out recently that Adam Silver is thinking about re-implementing the East versus West All-Star Game shakeup, I guess if you want to call it that. Essentially, the way that they're going to break down the teams for the All-Star weekend, for the All-Star game, I guess I don't know if it's that they don't like the current format. And basically, let me just put it from the top. So, the NBA All-Star game at All-Star weekend features basically the All-Star level players, and they play an exposition game where basically it's it's not meaningless basketball, I won't say, but I mean, like, it's essentially a basketball game where there's literally no stakes, and the only thing that can happen is that players can get injured, which the NBA is currently cracking down on load management because they want their stars to be playing. So Adam Silver is trying his hardest to be more like David Stern, but unfortunately he doesn't have he doesn't have the same command of authority. It seems like, because he seems like he's trying to work with players more, player empowerment, and he's probably more concerned with the bottom line of the NBA and the NBA front offices than he is with the players overall. And I think players are going to start to see that as well. Adam Silver is more involved with trying to keep the NBA and keep the league profitable. And unfortunately, they're not going to be able to remain profitable, especially if their best players aren't playing, if their best players aren't being constantly highlighted. And honestly, that was to be expected. I mean, stars already barely care to play in the All-Star game anyway. Like, pretty much, if you see a player who's got either in playoff contention or has playoff hopes, yeah, they're not going all out for the All-Star game. We haven't seen real effort in the All-Star game, I would say, since about the 2018 All-Star game, where they first implemented the roster picking, where it was Team LeBron versus, I think, Team Steph at the time. Basically, LeBron has gone up against the best player, and it's funny because LeBron was in the East in 2018, and then he goes to the West, and it's basically been LeBron James's team versus the best player in the opposite conference's team. And so far, we've seen those players either be Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, or Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think the real shakeup needs to be that there needs to be a different team captain. It can't just always be LeBron versus some other person's team. Maybe this year the two team captains could be Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, kind of bolster up that rivalry a little bit more. Maybe Giannis versus Anthony Davis, if Anthony Davis is an all-star level player. And that's another problem. A lot of these rivalries that the NBA tries to manufacture, they just don't work. Or at least they haven't worked. Let's see what can happen with the development of Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren. Hopefully that could be, at least a lot of people are seeing it as the next Magic versus Bird rivalry. I mean, like, it would work a lot better if they were in separate conferences as well. But it's going to be an interconference rivalry, so kind of like more like Dirk versus Tim Duncan, in my opinion. Especially considering, one of them does play for San Antonio. But in all honesty, with regards to the All-Star game and All-Star weekend, I'd say it's probably best if they did something different entirely. I mean, like, get creative, I would say. I mean, like, there's other things out there that that are basketball related. I mean, like, if you look at the Big Three, I mean, the Big Three has garnered a lot of attention over the last couple of years in its existence. And it may not be the National Basketball Association level of basketball, but it's still fun to watch. Whereas the NBA, most times, sometimes not even in the NBA Finals, is it fun to watch. And the problem, and it's a really big problem for the league when when the league's most exciting players, the players who are most fun to watch, aren't really are. I mean, like, and of course, I'm speaking other than from an injury standpoint. When the NBA's most exciting players really have no interest in being exciting because they're more concerned about either getting injured or just, I guess, getting clowned on Twitter, because that's apparently a thing where, social media has really deterred a lot of players from doing the things that players from a bygone era of basketball were more privy to doing and were more willing to do. Like, you have a lot less stars willing to participate in the dunk contest, and it seems like the only All-Star game activity that people seem to be interested in is the three-point competition. And we all know why that is. The three-point shot has been such a highlight of emphasis in the league since about the 16-17 season, after Stephen Curry broke the all-time three-pointers made record back in 2016. The following season, every team basically was like, all right, we need to at least be taking 15 to 23s a game. Doesn't matter who's taking them. And then teams started to strategize because they needed to figure out a way. And then Golden State was also just getting better from there. Cleveland had to show the year prior that they were a good jump shooting team. But now, since the entire league has pretty much caught up to that, we all shoot three-pointers and we all take at least 15 threes a game. I mean, I don't know any team in the NBA right now that doesn't take at least 15 threes a game, even if they have notoriously bad three-point shooters on their squad. I can't think of a single team at the moment that doesn't take that many threes a game. I mean, like, my prognostication even would be that the best teams that take the most threes don't even have the best three-point shooters. It's all about spacing. But with regards to the All-Star game, I mean, like, we're going to need to see some type of shakeup for sure. It's definitely boring to watch. Like, there's really no reason to even be involved watching the All-Star game. And if they decide to do something different, I mean, I've seen plenty of ideas float around on the net where maybe they're like, let's do something completely different. Let's have a king of the court, but how many players would be involved in that? And would it only be all-star players? Or what if it's a different type of basketball game where it's like knockout or something like that? Who even knows? But personally, I don't really see bringing back the East versus West deterring any of the effect, because at the moment, I'd have to say the league is lacking star power. I mean, yes, they have all-star level players, but it seems like the stars of the league, having stars in the NBA, seems to be a bygone thing. Even the present day stars don't really seem too interested in stardom, and it just doesn't feel the way it used to feel for many players. And I know that the league offices are looking at years past and are saying to themselves, how do we garner the attention that we need in order to keep fans engaged and in order to keep fans coming back and wanting to watch more basketball games? We can't even use the exhibition of the best players versus the best players anymore, because the best players don't even want to play. They're more worried about playoff contention, or there's always something looming for the reason for why players aren't participating in regular season games. And for a lot of these players, they're making enough money off the court to where they don't need the additional incentive of prize money from winning the All-Star game. So it's really going to be tough. I think that the league has a really big, I won't say a problem, but a really big issue on their hands with regards to garnering the attention that they're looking for with the NBA and with All-Star Weekend. But that's just going to really somebody's going to really have to show their prowess and their understanding of the game to really figure out what's going to entice players to want to be more involved and want to have more of an involvement in All-Star Weekend. I mean, some players are pretty much content with being a one-time All-Star, winning one championship. I mean, like, it's all about, it doesn't seem like it's about legacy anymore. For most players joining the NBA, the legacy aspect is really not as important to them. I mean, when you look at the reigning Finals MVP Nikola Jokic, he even seems now completely disengaged. I'm sure he's a very excellent basketball player and could probably destroy, I'd say about 90% of human beings on planet Earth in a one-on-one. But in terms of being the best basketball player in the NBA, it seems like if he's not going to come out and show that every single season, I mean, like, it's the way stars are today is just completely different. You know, stars aren't looking to go at each other's heads and throw at each other's throats. They're just like, I'm going to play my game and I'm going to do it my way, and that's just how it's going to be. And of course, the league can't micromanage, players' personalities, because they try to show themselves to be a players' league. And now that basically players and player empowerment has become the new normal for the NBA, it's going to be really, really hard to backpedal on a lot of the things that they've established. And if they really want to find a way to make the All-Star weekend more exciting, they're going to have to figure out how to entice players that people want to see do certain things. Like, I'm sure everybody would love to see Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, even LeBron James in the dunk contest. But who's to say it'll happen this season? Who's to say it'll happen at all? Who knows what kind of strings the league offices are going to pull to make sure that these players participate and give it their all in these games. But with that being said, I don't really see the positivity coming out of this to where the league is going to get what they want out of just reformatting the All-Star game. I think it's going to be more of the same, in my opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below, and I'll catch you later.